What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, we're going to be looking at my top 3 compressor plugins that was released in 2021. I'll have a link in the description for each one of these plugins. Let's get started. So my top 3 compressor plugins of 2021, we're going to start with the Softube Empirical Labs Mic E. I was very excited to see this announced back in February 2021 because I own the hardware and I've been using the hardware to track vocals and bass for many years. And to see the plugin come out and be made from someone as reputable as Softube, I was very excited for this. I haven't done any comparisons between the plugin and the hardware yet because the plugin I have at home where I mix and the hardware is at the studio that I track out of. So one day I'll bring the Mic E back to my studio and do some A/B comparisons and really hear how well Softube modeled this. But the plugin does have some features that the hardware does not have. We have an additional attack time in this 12 milliseconds, and then we have an extra emphasis option here as well. And technically you can say this is a channel strip because it does have a preamp section. Well, let's take a listen to this. So this comp sat is a compressor and saturator in one. The more compression you're doing, you're also doing saturation, which is a unique way to do dynamics processing. So I've got a vocal here, and let's see, we're turned up on the input and output. So yeah, let's turn some knobs and get some compression going and hear what this sounds like.
Better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain.
All right, so I'm going to boost up this preamp section just a little bit. That's going to drive more signal into the input, and we'll cycle through these ratios as well. We have a nuke here, just like the distressor, and you can bypass it, the compressor and saturator here. You can do a 1-to-1, which is just doing saturation, no compression. And then, of course, anything above 1-to-1, we start to do compression.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain.
You can hear that nuke, just like with the distressor, is a very aggressive limiter there. All right, next compressor is the Denise Audio Dragonfire. This is one of the most versatile compressors that I've used because this can do anything. It can be fast and aggressive like an 1176. It can be slow and chill like a LA2A. This drive here allows you to add saturation and color, and just it's so many things that you can do with this compressor. RMS you can change. You can blend between an RMS and peak. You got your knee control. Curve is going to affect the release of the compressor. And this graph you see here is actually an EQ. So we can boost some EQ here, and then how much of that EQ you have is determined with this push and pull here. It's a little backwards from what you would think at 100%. We're not doing anything, but at a pull of 0, we're going to hear, you can think of as 100% wet of what EQ that you've done here. So let's take a listen to this one.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain.
All right, let's add some of that EQ back now.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion, it's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain.
All right, now let me show you just the curve, how this affects the release. I'm going to move this release up to, about 500 milliseconds. And just pay attention to the release here, how it reacts with the curve at 0 and versus how it is up at 100.
Come on in this house,
All right, so we're getting about 18, 19 dB of compression there, and with it at 100.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain.
You can see there we're getting a quicker release, and it's not digging in as much. I think we're hit about maybe 8 dB of compression there. All right, so that is Dragonfire from Denise Audio. And lastly, we're going to look at Core Compressor. This one was recently released by Kit Plugins. This one is a transformer modeled compressor. We've got a fixed 3:1 ratio, input and output controls. Attack and release both go 0 to 200 milliseconds. You got your mix knob here. And this body knob here is interesting. This is a low shelf of 250 hertz that you can boost post compression. And then you have a crush button, which is going to be similar to like a all buttons in on an 1176. Let's check this one out.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain.
All right, so we're starting to get some compression with it here. What I love about this compressor is as I drive the output, or the makeup gain, I'm going to get saturation. So check this out.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain.
All right, let's bypass that.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house.
All right, so I really love the saturation that you get by driving that output. And we'll go ahead and check out the crush here. It's really not for vocals here, but let's just see what it does. See, when we hit crush, we're going to get some fixed settings changed here. Boosted output. We have a fixed attack and release time here. Fast attack, slow release. And we'll probably dial back this mix knob here.
Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain, rain down Zion. It's gonna rain.
All right, that actually sounded better than what I expected it to. Of course, using that mix knob to dial back in some of the dry signal versus that heavily compressed signal. So those are my 3 best plugins for 2021. Let me know what are some plugins that came out this year that you really liked. I have a link to these plugins in the description if you want to check them out. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to see content from me, then you know what to do. All right, any questions, comments, let me know, and I will catch y'all next time. If you're interested in having me mix your song and my mastering engineer D. Lyles master it, check my link tree in this video description. From there, you can email me, you can visit my website, and check out mixes that I've done.